time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Tuesday episode breaking down Game 1 on the Nielsen Media Coolbet Network, brought to you by our partners at Coolbet. And Nielsen, Gage, and Cass back with you once again. And I guess I'll start by saying the city of Edmonton's not handling the loss very well last night in Game 1. Is that safe to say, boys? Man, people are fired up, aren't they?
Cass, just go ahead and tell the story. You might as well just tell it.
Oh, well, there's just there's a couple, two incidents in a matter of seconds at the Ice House last night. And I will say, security there, the staff there, RCMP or the Edmonton Police came in and they handled everything extremely well. They shut everything down, got the people that were the problems out of there. So they did a great job. Start with that. But yeah, it was me and Tommy were live doing the post-game show, and we were sitting across from each other, and all of a sudden I see a brawl break out literally right behind Tom. Like chairs are getting thrown, people multiple people, just all Oilers fans, like both cheering for the same team.
Oilers
just a big
fighting.
brawl going on. The DJ's climbing out of the booth to go help the bouncers and security break it up. My wife Mandy was with me. She's just sitting there just like this. Tommy saw my face because you have headphones on, the DJ's on, so it's loud in there, so you can't really hear. Like it's more see. And I think Tommy was just looked at me because I think I just was just staring like this. And trying to in the middle of a segment try to talk through. They got that one broken up, and then a couple seconds later, someone runs by us and suckers someone right almost next to the booth. And then again, same thing. You security converges and the cops get in there. And they handled it well, but it was just kind of a emotional outburst from people after that game and dropping it in overtime. So yeah, people were upset.
Gager, kind of understandable, I guess, but still not a great look. Like throwing shit on the ice is it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Come on.
It's terrible. I remember games in Europe sometimes I would play where it got out of hand. Mostly in Eastern Germany was where it really got. Some guy chucked a pocket knife at me once. It didn't open, but it's such a bad look, man. I don't get it. I know it's Monday, but geez, I'm flashing back to all those bad instances in bars with guys wanting to fight. And I could never understand why that was the next step to go to after a night of having fun and drinking. It boggles the mind. Maybe my age is showing, but what a way to start the week.
On a Monday. How was your Monday? Oh, well, I went and I watched the Oilers lose. I threw the rest of my beer at the Los Angeles Kings as they were skating off the ice. And then I went and fought my own friends at the Ice House after. And yada, yada, yada. I'm here at work. So that's great. That's bad. I can't believe somebody threw a pocket knife at you. Was it in the was it in the case? Or was it?
It was half open. It was jackknife. The knife was out, but we were playing in Dresden in the old Eastern Bloc of Germany, and the thing just whizzed by my head, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was not only impressed that the guy threw his probably $50 pocket knife. I kept it.
I was going to say, did you keep it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was in my bag forever. It's great. It's kind of rusted out now, but there was chicken wire up at the top, so he managed to chuck that thing, and maybe the chicken wire saved my life because it changed the trajectory and hit the knife. But yeah, it just whizzed by the back of my head. But we're live to play another day.
Well, yeah, and got something out of it, so you can't complain. Can't complain about that. One of the reasons everybody's so pissed, at least on social media last night, guys, was the view of the officiating. Cass, I'm sure you would have talked about this in the post game. I landed too late at the airport to hear you on the post game last night, but where do you come out on that bone to pick for Oilers fans today?
Well, the Desharnais, I said this on the post game show. I said it on, I did a hit for Jameson and Low Tide today. It was a penalty. The Desharnais penalty was a penalty. My first thought was that the guy stepped on the broken stick, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, you can't call that." But he didn't. Like Desharnais caught him with a stick, and that's what made him fall. By the book, it's a tripping penalty. That was a tripping penalty. The issue that I took with it is that you had another incredibly blatant penalty right in front of the refs, a hold, where had Fogel basically wrapped up and grabbed like basically almost suplexed by his head, like wrapped right around his head all the way around, and you didn't call that. So I'm like, okay, like where are you going to set the standard here for what you're calling and what you're not calling? I understand the frustration on that, but ultimately, from a penalty standpoint, I mean, for the most part, the calls that were called were penalties. Bouchard's penalty was a penalty. Terrible timing. I know you're trying to push a guy, get him off balance. You can't hit the guy in the face. That was a penalty, and it cost them. And then the penalty in overtime again was a penalty. I didn't like that they didn't call the one earlier. So I'm like, if you're going to call them all. If you're not going to call them, don't call them. And that inconsistency is frustrating, and I get people's frustration with it.
Yeah, a little bit too many accidental on purpose calls. I even look at the Kane penalty where he was trying to push off.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but he hit the guy in the head again with his stick, right? And he was trying to get some separation. I understand that, but and Evander Kane, I think, he does a great job of kind of taking a number. Like when guys retaliate against him, he doesn't come back right away. He kind of picks his spot to do something and make them pay. But yeah, I didn't like. But the Oilers just too many times they took penalties. Those are three penalties there, two that really cost them that are unnecessary. So easily fixable. Not a huge deal. I'd chalk it up to a little bit more emotion at that time. Like, I mean, even I'm sitting on the couch watching that game. My heart's racing as that clock's beating down, going, "Oh, I think they got this thing right." So, I mean, it's almost better to be playing in that situation too. You're when you're in it, you think you have more control over everything, so that adds to it. But I just thought that, yeah, you gave that team too many opportunities to win.
Okay, so let's just kind of get to an official consensus here so we know coming out of game one. The Oilers didn't lose that game because of officiating, right? Like they didn't lose that game because of the refs. We're all on the same page for that, right? Like, yeah, you're going to like to see calls made. You're going to be frustrated with other ones. You're going to think this guy embellished this guy, but they didn't lose that game because of officiating. So let's dive into it, Cass. What was it? Was it the lack of discipline then that put them in this spot that they lost the game on? Was it their penalty kill, not being able to get the job done at crucial times? Like, where do you come out on it?
Two parts to it. So I think two things. I mean, lack of discipline, number one, pretty clear on that, where you took bad penalties at bad times. I mean, that Bouchard penalty in particular, that lets LA score. I mean, get a 6-on-4 advantage, tough to defend, and LA's got a really good power play. So that hurts you. Second part was that I thought entering into the third period, they adopted a sit back posture versus an aggressive posture. So they kind of went into game management mode when Edmonton's at their best, and where they were so good over the 9-game stretch where they won 9 games in a row, was they never really did that. They maintained that aggressive. We're going to continue to attack. We're going to continue to be aggressive on the forecheck. And so I thought they got away from that a little bit. And I thought even in the offensive zone, they threw a few too many pucks away, where they just kind of made hope plays along the wall or in the zone to nobody that gave LA possession back, instead of at times maybe holding on to the puck for another second to wait for a better play. But the big thing was I think the biggest part of it, and this probably even led to the penalties, was getting into that posture of sitting back versus being aggressive and taking the game to LA.
Gage, is that just sort of natural instinct, or is that something that would be like as a team to say, hey guys, this is what we're going to do now? Like, where do you come out on that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it was a little bit of Edmonton sitting back, but I also thought the Kings were pushing. Like they got the late power play in the second. They started the third with the power play. Guys started feeling good about themselves. They started kind of coming in waves. Edmonton allowed it. They had their chances to push back. I loved the second period from the Oilers. Like they were all over the Kings. I said it this morning on your show. You weren't there, Dustin.
Sorry, buddy.
They limited the time and space of the Kings so much. I was actually counting. Like I was going like one Mississippi. It was 2 seconds before an Oiler was forcing a King to do something.
Too much time, yeah.
Then they stopped, and you can play that way and still maintain a defensive posture. But when you allow guys time and space with the puck, they just start seeing things, start creating things, moving with speed through the neutral zone. It was a great second period. And if they would have kept playing like that, not only would they have won the game, but they probably would have forced more turnovers and were able to counterpunch a little bit more, because the Kings in that situation have to press, and they're not a real pressing team. If you can get the lead on them and play that defensive structure without the puck, you're going to force them into positions where you can take advantage of their mistakes.
If you're watching right now on the live stream on Twitter or on YouTube, I don't have the YouTube chat up, but I see the chat on Twitter right now, and there's a lot of good comments and some, a lot of good comments in there, and we'll get to a few of those as we work our way through this thing. We'll talk about McDavid in just a little bit as well. Obviously, I want Gage's thoughts on Korpisalo and Skinner. Cass, on the game winner, I mean, excellent execution from the Los Angeles Kings. Now, Darnell Nurse, when he goes down where he did, was he trying to block the pass across as opposed to the stick out blocking the guy who's right there? I mean,
and that's the right. Like you're supposed to try to block the pass. Like you're
that way,
supposed to
like
block the pass
across. Yeah. So then I guess the forward should have cheated down just a little bit quicker to pick up Iafallo where he was, like the middle guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to slide when it's a crisis. I'll call that a crisis situation, like a scramble situation. You have to collapse down a little bit lower than it. I mean, it was, as you said, it was well executed by LA. Like it was, they have a man advantage. There's going to be a 2-on-1 somewhere. They created the 2-on-1 at the net in that situation, and the Oilers weren't able to recover. So it was just a good play by LA. It's not like you look at that and you go, oh well, Edmonton made 8 mistakes leading up to it. Well, no, like it was a well executed play by LA.
Gager, let's start with Skinner. What did you think of Skinner last night?
It's good, man. I mean, he controlled a lot of rebounds. I love he was the best penalty killer for the Oilers. When the Kings had a shot, it was one and done, no second opportunities. That's what you want against a power play like the Kings. Is the goalie either to freeze the puck, or when you get a chance to get it down, it goes all the way down. I thought they did a good job until the end of the game there. And then, I mean, even that tying goal, Skinner made an unreal save, but it just got behind. Yeah. It's like, that's a lucky play for that to happen. Usually it just falls in behind, but actually to squirt out the other side and lie there for Kopitar. But no, I had no problems with it. Both goalies are really good. The one thing I thought the Oilers could do a better job, what I thought the Kings did, is they were crashing the net. That's understandable a bit more in the third, but you're going to have to get in Korpisalo's eyes. And he's very, very good on the lower part of the net. Like there's so many saves that he makes that he doesn't even see, just because he's able to cover such a large portion of the bottom of the net and scrambles like that. Skinner does a good job of that too, but those low to high plays, those are what the goals seem to be scored on a lot here. So that's what the Oilers need to establish, that low game that they did last year against the Kings, because I think with the Oilers' foot speed, they're going to cause a lot of havoc for the defensive structure of the Kings if they can get the puck below the line and start grinding. And because I felt like they were trying to look for some pretty cute goals, some October goals. These have to be April, May goals that they're scoring now.
Cass, any thoughts on what to do with Korpisalo there from a weather perspective? Gager said obviously you get some more traffic around him, but anything else you see in?
I think that's the big thing. There's a couple times you had some point shots and some good point shots that were they got all of them hard point shots, but you didn't have anybody in front. Like there was nobody there. Everyone was kind of stuck to the outside, and LA does a good job of that. I mean, they do a good job protecting the middle of the ice and pushing everybody outside. So it's just going to be a constant thing that the Edmonton Oilers need to get to the front of the net and need to try to create. If you let Korpisalo see it, he's probably going to save it. So yeah, they could use a little bit more of that net crashing mentality. But I think even that, guys, like in the third period, because I wouldn't have said that through the first two periods. It was that third period when they sat back where I was like, okay, to get that initiative back, they didn't have a lot of traffic. They didn't have a lot of scrambles in front of the net. Like they weren't buzzing in the offensive zone with that aggressive posture as much as they had been in the first two periods.
Well, and even on the game winner, that Arvidsson, he had a whale of a game yesterday. And I think even Bieksa pointed out, like, Oilers win the draw, they go to wrap it, and he makes them.
He got in there, right? Yeah.
He went and intercepted that puck. Like that was the game right there. He did so many little things that they talked about it on the broadcast. His backhand sauce over on the tie, like just unbelievable play. And the blocking shots. He's a great player, man. The Kings have some sneaky, really good playoff type players. He's one of them. Kempe's one of them. And Anze Kopitar, geez, man, what an awesome player he is. It's just they're going to be tough, man. This series is going to go all the way. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so I think you had a game. I thought the Oilers were by far the better team for the first 40 minutes of this hockey game. You're in a pretty good spot, and then you let one slip away, Cass. But it is a playoff game. Game 2 is huge now. You don't want to drop both at home and then have to go on the road. And now the Oilers are a good road team. They could very well go there and win 2, and everything's back to square one. But how did you I don't think you change anything. Like, do you make any sort of adjustments prior to game 2, Cass, or just say, look, just finish the job? Like, they put themselves in a really good spot, 2-goal lead twice, and then you just let it slip away. Like, I know some people were asking, would you go to 11-7 because the team plays pretty well at 11-7? I don't think you do that just yet. Do you? Would you agree with this, or would you?
I think they probably go to 11-7.
Yeah, and you do, eh?
But the reason being is I think you look at Connor McDavid and you say, okay, Doughty played pretty well against him and did a pretty good job of limiting his opportunities, and moving to an 11-7 gives you probably a little bit more flexibility and plugging and playing, and he's going to play a little bit more that way. So I could see you going to that. As far as overall adjustments, though, I mean, you're not going to change much. I talked, on the radio today about you could see a little bit of adjustment with their controlled breakout, like a controlled set against the full 1-3-1, where they might move to posting up 2 players as opposed to what they kind of had to have a player flying through the middle at the far blue line to stretch it out a little bit more, or not to stretch it out, to compact the 1-3-1 a little bit, try to force them more into the middle of the ice to create some space for you. Force them to the outside of the ice to create some more space through the middle of the ice to carry the puck up. So we'll see. I think it's just little tweaks. But again, you said it, Dusty, you look at the first 2 periods, they played a really good first 2 periods, and they controlled it. So, I mean, I don't think you have to make big wholesale changes. If they didn't go to 11-7, it still wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think it's kind of a toss-up for which direction they go. But, I mean, you're going to look at this and say, hey, it's a long series. We didn't necessarily expect to sweep them in 4. So we just, we got to go out and win this next one. And then, we're heading into their building at a split, and we're in a good shape. So you're just going to try to do more of the same, really. Just not take the bad penalties and not sit back.
Just on the live stream here, Anders is saying, hey, guys, we beat LA twice this month with 11-7. So you got that you could look at and go, yeah, it works. And then the lady to the gravy tweets, who comes out in an 11-7 situation, which is an interesting question because a lot of these bottom 6 guys are contributing rather well right now. Gager, any lean on who would come out of the lineup? I mean, Costin's got that physical presence. Bukestad's not coming out. Mark's not coming out right now. McLeod just got back in. I don't see him being healthy scratched. Fogel and Ryan. I mean, who would come out?
Costin's coming out.
Costin would be the guy. Yeah, it'd be Costin.
Just look at minutes played. He's the easiest one to pull out. I mean, you might look at Ryan too, but I think they like the
Costin doesn't kill penalties, right? Those other guys.
So Costin to me is the guy that comes out.
Gager, what do you think of that idea then, Costin coming out?
I don't like it because I like when he gets out there and bangs around a little bit. I hate to say it, but I find McLeod's. I know he's been injured, but he's a step behind. It seems like to me a little bit. But then it's center. I just like Costin more than McLeod right now for me, anyways.
All right, if you're watching on the live stream, feel free to chime in on that. If you're listening to the podcast, if you wouldn't mind hopping on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, that would be great. Very much appreciated. Connor McDavid last night, relatively human last night, played a ton against Danault. Jay Woodcroft obviously wasn't worried about getting McDavid away from him. Cass, what do you think of not just 97, but that entire top line that's, can be so deadly at times, being contained-ish last night?
Yep. Well, Danault and Doughty did a good job. I mean, they played them well, and LA has played them well. I mean, Danault is one of the few guys that's I would say had some fairly consistent success against limiting McDavid, and that's what they set out to do. So it'll be interesting to see if Woodcroft tries to get him away, and to see what McClellan tries to do to counter that from a playing standpoint. And that's where I could see an 11-7 to where you maybe mix and match McDavid in there a little bit more to try to get him going. Not that I don't think he played poorly, but he had a tough time generating. And I think it's over, a long series. It's going to be difficult for them to do that every single night. But game one, I mean, point Danault, he did a good job in containing him.
Connor had some looks though. I mean,
there was a few. Yep.
Man, that one when he broke through and they grabbed his hip, that would have been bloody phenomenal if he finished that thing. Yeah,
that is the penalty you take.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he scores on one of those, do you say that Danault? It was. I don't know. I thought he was dangerous most of the night. Yeah, he didn't score, but I don't. There's only a matter of time before he goes off, at least for one game.
You're not going to keep this guy contained for an entire series, right? It's not like all of a sudden everybody's sitting here going, they figured Connor out. Like that's not what that was. I don't think.
And they were good, but not to their standard. I think that line of Nuge and Hyman, I think there's a lot more that they have in the tank.
Cass, how important is game 2 here? Like if they go down 2-0,
I know there's, but there's still
that's the thing. Like that's what I mean. Like what level of must win is game 2?
I mean, it's not 100% must win. It's not a must win until the other team has 3 wins. Then it becomes a must win.
Yeah.
But it certainly puts you in a tougher spot. Like you don't want to be going into LA into their home barn down 2 games. Like, I mean, so is it a must win? No. Is it a must win? Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what
things get a little bleak if they lose game 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then have to take 4 of 5 from a pretty good Kings team after that.
Pretty good team. Yeah.
That's a tall task. All right. Let's dive over to that other Minnesota Dallas series. Dumba with the hit on Pavelski last night. There will be no supplementary discipline or anything. Gager, what do you think of that? What do you think of that hit?
It's a 2-minute penalty. It's a little late.
They just had bad consequences in the end, right? Like,
well, they broke it down on the broadcast too, where they could slow it down, and Pavelski had 2 sticks in his face, his own, and I don't know who the other player was. It wasn't Dumba's, but he got hit in the head with 2 sticks with Dumba hitting him, and that seems to be the force that kind of knocked him out a little bit, and then the secondary hitting the head on the ice. So definitely a 2-minute penalty for the late hit, but I think it was just an unfortunate series of events with having his own stick and another guy's stick right up in his face hitting him as well, and that adding to him getting concussed. So I agree with it, but it should have been a penalty.
I'm not so sure it should have been a penalty, guys. Like I thought, because he didn't hit him directly in the head. Like I thought, my view of it was that he caught him clean, and it was inside it. Like if you count, if we do the steamboat test, I just pulled it up here. Once, I mean, it's less than
It
than a
only
second.
looked late to me in super slow mo, right?
Yeah.
And in super slow mo, it's kind of cheating. You're like,
It's cheating, but like if I pull it up and watch it in real time, like Dumba has committed to the hit, like he's moving that direction, committed to the hit, and Pavelski is just kind of tossing on the back, like he doesn't prepare himself at all, and that on me is on him. And as you said, from a head standpoint, I mean it's the sticks are there and probably the head on the ice, which is the big thing. So I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought it was a good hit. So I don't even think it should have been 2 minutes. I get optics where they're going to do that, but I don't know. I didn't really have a problem with it.
Oh, I guess someone played in Minnesota.
the Minnesota Wild guy, fine with the hit. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, two other things. Toronto and Tampa starts tonight, and Winnipeg, Vegas, the two other Canadian teams here in the mix. Gage, is this a year the Toronto Maple Leafs figure out the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Probably not, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Last year's series was great, right? That was great. The Leafs rolled in game one, and it was great.
Both of their series have been great. This is going to be a great series. I can't wait to see. There's so many storylines, and at least if Tampa Bay does win, all the focus is off the Oilers for the next 24 hours until their game. But no, I'm looking forward to both games, man. You got the Leafs not winning in decades, and you got Connor Hellebuck, the Stone getting better all of a sudden. It's unbelievable. A miracle has happened again. This is so much drama with these two Canadian teams. I love it. It's the first round of the playoffs is always the best because there's so much going on and guys are playing so hard, and it's just crazy. Tonight's going to be insane.
Cass, what do you think? Jets, Knights pull off that upset? Is there a chance? Do you like their chances?
A chance.
Yeah, I think they're going to win it. I picked the Jets to win that series. I think they're going to win it.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, the Jets will be. Jets are not going to be an easy out. I mean, if they get some goaltending, they're going to be tough. So yeah, it's going to be a tight series. That'll be a fun one.
Jets are like the Kings. They're built for the playoffs more so than the Kings had a good season, and so did the Jets at certain times. But I think the way they're constructed better suits them for the playoff series.
Jets, yes. Kings, I disagree with you. I don't think the Kings have enough goal scoring still, especially with Fiala out. I mean, Kempe has to kind of do it by himself.
Kempe is good though, isn't he?
He's really good.
Holy smokes, man!
He's good. He's really good.
Really
he scored. What did he get? 42 this year? 43. No one talked about it. No one really talked about it at all.
Phenomenal year.
That second goal he scored, unbelievable. Like to go that far, probably about 8 feet that he spanned, getting the puck, pulling it over on a broken play, and just laser beam far side, just above the blocker. Awesome. Great shot.
I just look at that series with the Golden Knights and Jets, Hellebuck versus Brossoit to start. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't know how you can bet against Hellebuck when those guys are at the other end of the ice. So we'll see what ends up happening on that one. All right, let's do this. I want to talk about the wave briefly just at the end here, but we do have a contest that we're going to have here, Cass. Give us a little bit of the details on this, and we'll talk about it now. And then what I'll do is from the two guys in the goalie account, I'll put out a tweet where people can have a chance to win this thing, and we'll all retweet it, and you can find out more details there. But what's the gist of it here?
Yeah, we'll get it. So the Damon Bunting Real Estate Group with Remax Elite out at Sherwood Park doing a little giveaway for the watch parties. We'll have two, so we'll do one for the game on Friday. We'll do one for the game on Sunday. And what it's going to be is going to be 4 tickets to the watch party. Great to take family and kids to have an experience in Rogers Place, as well as a gift card for some food. I think we're going to do a $50 gift card as well. I'm not entirely sure. We're still figuring out where it's going to be, but going to be pretty simple. We'll have a retweet if you tag two guys and a goalie, and if you tag Damon Bunting's Real Estate Group, you will be entered in a chance to win some tickets. So thanks to Damon and his team for setting that up. We'll get to send someone to the watch party, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, so watch for that tweet. That's going to be the Two Guys and a Goalie Twitter account, and the watch party's going to be a lot of fun because they got so much shit going on down there this year, right?
Yeah,
so,
there's a ton. Well, even just being down there for the game yesterday, like there's so much going on, and now that more stuff is open in the area, it's going to be pretty fun for the watch party. I know we're going to be doing still the pre and post game show. We'll be live on location at the Ice House.
Well, even when they're on the road, yeah. So that'll be good.
Even
yeah,
when they're on the road, so there's going to be a ton of stuff going on. It'll be a lot of fun. And as I said, like for me, I would rather take my kids to that than because if they have to go for a potty break or something, it's a little easier to stomach. But it'll be a pretty fun experience, especially if you weren't able to get or don't have the option to go to the actual playoff games. Really fun environment, so it'll be pretty cool.
And there's the kumite at the Ice House afterwards, so you can always partake in the
the extracurriculars.
And part of the watch party is you either get to take part in or help break up a sweet brawl amongst Oilers fans. And look, we can sit here and talk about undisciplined penalties and that shouldn't have been a call or this should have been a call or you got to lock it down when you're up 3-1. The bottom line is they lost this game because somebody was trying to start a wave in overtime. You cannot. I mean, you want to do a wave at the game. I'm not a big wave guy myself. You want to do a wave in the first or second period, that's fine. I'm telling you how to fan. But in overtime, you should be watching the game, not turned around being like, let's make a wave. Let's do a wave. Just cheer loud in overtime. Like, you cannot do the wave in overtime, let alone in the third period of a game when you're up by 2 goals. I pumped the brakes on that too, but I was watching the overtime and I'm seeing this. I think it was a lady. She's trying to get the wave going again. I was like, come on, you can't do it. No wave in overtime, ever. You can't do that.
How about the Dallas game? Like, they don't sit down in overtime. They're just standing up, though. That was crazy. Like, what an atmosphere.
That must be an American thing, hey? Like American sports fans like that, because you just don't see that. Everybody in Canada is so bloody nervous. You're just sitting there, you don't know what to do, right? Like,
yeah.
Be fun standing up for 2 overtime periods. Like,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's real good. All right, boys. So that's gonna do it for Tuesday episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. We will be back on Thursday, breaking down game 2. We'll see what happens there.
This is episode 300, Dusty.
Yes, it is episode 300. Jesus. Actually, it was right in my notes. Episode 300. If not for Hernan, we would have never made it. That's what I had written down here. So shout out to Hernan Salas, one of the Two Guys OGs, as 300 episodes. Started, the September before COVID, right? We were going to Little Brick there for about 4 or 5 months, and then 6 months maybe, and then COVID hit. And now
this is Sparta.
Yes, exactly. Episode 300, boys. So congratulations to all of us and everybody who downloads and watches and looks at all the clips and stuff. We appreciate it. And make sure you're watching for that contest because we'll be over on the Two Guys and Goalie Twitter account. We'll get that up later this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning and get you locked and loaded for those watch parties when they head out on the road down to LA for games 3 and 4. Guys, enjoy game 2 and we'll talk to you on Thursday, all right?
Later, boys.
Absolutely.